TSMC Stock just announced an extra $100 billion investment here in the United States to build more manufacturing plants. Now, why would TSMC do that if the AI market is dead? Well, on today's episode, what I want to do is obviously take a closer look at this update, share my overall thoughts, and more importantly, this kind of press release gave me more questions than answers. And I'm not going to lie, some of these questions might seem a little bit crazy and a little bit conspiracy theory thinking, and I would definitely love to hear your overall answers. So stay tuned as we're going to get a lot of information about the semiconductor space. But first, if you want to get more information about the semiconductor market, make sure to check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com. The link is down below.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
So we can see TSM today was down roughly 4%, where pretty much the whole semiconductor market took a huge hit. We saw Nvidia down roughly 8.6% as well. And earlier today, I dropped a video on some of the reasons the overall semiconductor market was down. All right, so let's look at this press release. TSMC intends to expand its AI investments in the United States to $165 billion to power the future of AI. Again, why would a company be spending this much money if the AI market is dead? Right. But now let's kind of look a little bit at the meat from this press release. So they are going to invest an extra $100 billion here in the United States. Originally, TSMC was going to only invest $65 billion. Now this has jumped up to $165 billion. And this expansion includes plans for 3 new fabrication plants, 2 advanced packaging facility, and the major R&D team center, solidifying this project as the largest single foreign direct investment in U.S. history. So first, I am pretty excited to see 2 advanced packaging facilities coming to the United States, as this completes the whole cycle for the AI accelerator space. So companies like Nvidia, who use TSMC's fabrication plants but advanced packaging, can in theory do everything here in the United States. And then I was also impressed that they are building an R&D center and team center here in the United States. As manufacturing, you need to have a strong team like that. And I think that's going to bring just more talent to this country. Now, they mentioned this is going to be something that takes over the next 4 years. And they already kind of have like the backing of a lot of companies. And these companies are going to be most likely the customers for these plants: Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, and Qualcomm. Now, they mentioned that they are already seeing success with their first fab in Arizona, which kind of was helped with a lot of government support. And they are kind of already in volume production since late 2024. So first, I want to say, I think this is very, very bullish for the semiconductor space. If TSMC, right, for those that are not familiar, TSMC is based on Taiwan. And from the numerous years I've been covering the semiconductor market, I feel like I've always said that management is a company that only puts their money where they really see growth. And they are ones that don't typically overspend or overinvest. They tend to be a lot more conservative in both the growth side and kind of even in the down cycle, their conservative increases. So for them to be spending an extra $100 billion, I think this is more than just trying to please the current administration, right? Because if they were just trying to please the current administration, or if this is them kind of trying to push back or eliminate the chances of them getting tariffs, are those tariffs really worth $100 billion? I'm going to say the answer is no. So I want to say there's probably some truth to the growth here, and obviously maybe some pressure from the current administration as well. Now, Nvidia didn't hesitate to kind of congratulate TSMC with these new fabs, and they mentioned that Nvidia will fully utilize TSMC's global manufacturing network to enhance their own supply agility and resilience. So we can see Nvidia is definitely saying that they're going to be a major customer here. It is also important to remember that these fabs and all these manufacturing plants and advanced packaging plants take multiple years to build out. So we really won't see probably at least 2 to 3 years before we really start to see some chip movement out of them. So this is more of that ultimate growth potential for the AI market is not something that should be impactful right now. This did give me a few questions. First, as I'm not a TSMC investor, but if I was a TSMC investor, I have two questions here. Is this part of the CapEx growth TSMC mentioned in the last earnings, or will they increase their CapEx in this upcoming quarter? So if you remember last quarter, which happened about on January 15th, they mentioned that they are increasing their capital budget by a few points, by from 28 billion to about 40 billion dollars. And this overall growth here is going to happen because they are expecting huge growth in the semiconductor market. So they mentioned their CapEx and capacity planning is based on the long-term market demand profile at TSMC. A higher level of capital expenditure is always correlated with higher growth opportunities in the following years. So my question is this $100 billion additional included in this CapEx spend anticipation, or is this something new? Now, this is obviously important if you are an investor of TSMC. Now, the second question is, does this impact margins more than previously guided? And TSMC has mentioned that overseas fabs, like here in the United States, have about a 2 to 3% margin dilution impact from ramp up of their overseas fabs and then just the higher cost of production. Will those margin dilutions be actually higher than previously expected, as this company is going to be building more over Fab C? So these are two critical questions that I think we are going to have to get some answers to. If it is new capex, that's actually very bullish in my opinion for semiconductor equipment players. But I do believe if it is new capex, it's going to increase the margin dilutions, which is something TSMC investors might not like. Now, my third question is, does this impact the Intel TSMC joint venture that we keep hearing about? Can we put that to rest? I hope so. In the past few weeks, we've been kind of hit with various rumors that TSMC is going to take over some form of Intel to build more or have more manufacturing capabilities here in the United States. I wonder if this strategy eliminates that rumor completely and it showcases that TSMC doesn't need to do any joint ventures with the Intel market. That might cause some pain for Intel investors in the short term of things, but in the long term of things, I believe Intel's growth opportunity is larger with it being a unified foundry and design business. Now, my fourth question is, TSMC is one that I feel doesn't overbuild. Like I mentioned, they are ones that are very conservative in the investment market. Now, is this investment because it truly sees massive growth in the AI space? I mean, we kind of saw from their previous earnings that they mentioned that capital expenditures are always correlate with higher growth. But this is a huge, huge investment and something they really didn't mention during the earnings unless it's already included in this higher capex growth. Now, I am going to put my conspiracy hat on and I would love to hear your thoughts. The only other reason I would see TSMC investing so much in advanced manufacturing here in the United States is if they see the risk of that China and Taiwan tension has increased dramatically in the past few months, that it corresponds with TSMC needing to truly diversify out of Taiwan. So again, that's just me putting my conspiracy hat on. I have no news outside of what you have here, but it's just my overall thought process that the only reason TSMC will spend this much more money outside of what it originally intended was one, very, very bullish, is it could be seeing just massive amount of growth in the upcoming years. And they know something that we don't know. Maybe robotics is definitely going to be a multi-trillion dollars within the next 4 to 5 years. Or two, they're trying to de-risk themselves because they might be seeing a risk in the China and Taiwan tensions. Now, let me be pretty clear. I believe the China and Taiwan tensions and companies like TSMC, this has always been a risk. If you follow my channel, you know that this has been something I've always discussed. I feel recently, not because of the administration, but just because of the evolution of AI, things like the export controls and kind of this chokehold that we're trying to put in China could be creating a moment where it's like, hey, look, if we can't have it, no one else can, especially if AI is becoming such a crucial technology for things like national security. So again, I'm not, that was just me putting my mini conspiracy hat on. I do believe the chances of it just being very bullish for the semiconductor market or the huge growth opportunity is most likely the case. But you know me, I try to share both my bullish and bearish thoughts. Overall, I think this is very bullish for the semiconductor equipment space. And I also believe it's good for semiconductor talent because if TSMC is building this massive campus in Arizona, what we're going to guess, and I'm going to say this is probably going to be great for Arizona real estate around the area. You're going to start to see the customers of TSMC build facilities or research developments near those campuses so they can have straight communications with TSMC. So I'm not sure how Arizona is, but I'm going to guess once TSMC continues to build here, you're going to see companies like AMD, like Nvidia, like Qualcomm build some form of facilities there just so they have engineering talent that will be able to communicate with TSMC. So great news in my opinion. Again, some conspiracy thoughts, but would love to hear your thoughts about it. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Check out and see you all next time.